Welcome, everybody, to our Human Resources Personnel Change meeting. It is December 22nd, 2022 at 11:01 a.m. I'm calling this meeting to order, and in attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Filios, and Duncan. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We will start with number one, vacation hours payout, and our Undersheriff Nelson will lead us.
Good morning, Commissioner. As requested in our last meeting, we have two employees that are currently out on injuries for an extended period of time, both of which will exceed the maximum 240 hours, respectively by 86.5 and 29.5 hours. As you directed, we reached out to both of our employees and sought their input as to what they wanted to do, either roll over or cash out, and they both requested that they be cashed out for those hours that were over their maximum time allotted.
Okay.
So come before the board to ask that we do that so that we, as the first of the year, we can go forward and proceed from there.
Okay. So I just want to point out, these are injury on duties, and this is not just a management issue or a, any other issue. So this is why I would consider doing this.
Correct. And as we discussed last meeting, it is solely for those who are injured on duty.
Right.
These aren't a management or lack of managing your own time.
Right. Okay. Chris, Bill, questions?
I don't have any questions.
I have none.
Okay. So somebody want to make a motion?
I'm glad the undersheriff for the sheriff's office has come back to us and checked in on these things.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Oh, I thought he just did. Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead, Bill.
I move that we approve the request by the sheriff's office for the overtime for what was it, carry forward, or what would you call it?
Vacation payout.
Okay, vacation payout for deputies or personnel who are injured in the line of duty.
Second.
Listed in the memo.
Yeah, as per the memo. Okay, I'll second that.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, motion carries. And item number 2, extension of temporary sergeant assignment. And Undersheriff, would you handle this as well?
Yes, Commissioner. As we went before the board earlier this September of the year, seeking to, if you will, temporarily promote a lead deputy to a acting sergeant's position due to the fact that we had a sergeant that was out on injury and extended FMLA leave with an unknown return date. That extension or acting spot was supposed to run through December 17th of this year. We're asking that it continue on until we are made whole by that sergeant retiring, or we have the opportunity to promote within to fill that spot. This will save us an exorbitant amount of overtime on the backside by continuously having our sergeants or management, if you will, for field officers full as staff.
Okay. Bill, Chris, questions?
No.
No, this seems consistent with policy.
Okay, and it is budget neutral.
That is correct.
So, yep. All right, motion?
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, I got it. I move that we
Okay.
approve the extension of temporary sergeant assignment for the sheriff's office.
I second the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, motion carries. And item number 3, position conversion from commercial appraiser 2 to commercial appraiser 1. And I guess HR will lead us.
Yes, Sylvia Proud for the record. And so the assessor's office had an appraiser 2 position open. but the individual that they hired has the qualifications for an appraiser 1, so they would like to do a position conversion from appraiser 2 to appraiser 1. There is additional cost for it, but they have salary savings for it. So for fiscal year '23, the increase is $2,748, and for fiscal year '24, it's $3,486. And the reason for the increase is that it was the individual who was in the appraiser 2 position was at a lesser salary than what they brought the commercial appraiser 1 in at. But they do these conversions as they attempt to recruit for them, and since there was a budgetary impact, and it's going to cross over to more than one this fiscal year, we're required to bring it forward.
Yes, thank you. And I think the fact that it's going to cost more money is one of the key drivers to bring it forward. So, Brandy, any comments? Okay, great. Okay, Bill, Chris, questions?
I have a question. Why is Sylvia bringing this forward and not the assessor?
They're not in here right now. I'm not sure why they didn't show. We don't have any information, so.
Really?
The individuals started Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. What percent of market is this?
It's a step 4. Let me give that to you. Let's see. 93% of market. They had experience, but not the certifications to be an appraiser too.
Okay, so once again, the request is to go from commercial 2 to commercial 1.
Correct.
Yeah, but the budgeted amount was less than what they just hired the person who started this week.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I can take this motion. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I move that we approve the assessor's request to change the requisition for commercial appraiser 2 to commercial appraiser 1. End of motion.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Nay.
Chair Duncan.
Qualified aye. The conversion was not approved, the amount was not approved, and yet they hired the person. Because I'm sympathetic to the, needing to hire people, then I'll go ahead with this. But in the future, they cannot hire somebody if the position doesn't exist. So if we can make that known, I suppose would be very helpful. So, thank you.
We will communicate that and reference them back to this meeting.
Thank you. Okay, item number 4, independent contractor agreement, resource management office. And Chris, there's a lot of background noise if you want to mute yourself until we're ready. So I'm not sure who's leading us, legal or Jody? Okay.
So the agenda item is for an independent contractor agreement. Within Jody's department, we have a draft agreement, but the most important terms of that agreement are the scope of work and then the compensation. The rest of it, there's some details that we can work out. We're trying to get this done by the first of the year.
Right.
So with regard to the scope of the work, that the board has to approve that this scope of work is something that is acceptable to perform on an independent contractor basis. And Jody, I just can't speak competently towards the scope of the work. If you could give a general description to the board so they can approve that, consider that.
So Darren, you're comfortable with this final version as long as it meets the needs of the department?
So no, it's not final.
Okay.
But, so yes, I'm comfortable with, in concept, that what they're wanting to do meets the requirements of an independent contractor, both under federal law, IRS law, and state law here in Idaho.
Okay. I understand that there's some fine point details too that the Board of Commissioners needs to examine. Is it tied, what the requests made, can we go into executive session?
Right, there are, yeah, I can appreciate that there are certain aspects, performance aspects, that should be discussed in executive session about the individual employee. But we got to make sure that on the record, we talk about compensation.
Yes.
And the scope of the work has to be in an open meeting.
Yes, absolutely. So what I would, and this is going to be a little complicated because we have two people on the phone. I would like to go into executive session. I think it'd just make it more expedient at this point. And then our other agenda item as well. And our last agenda item is an executive session. So I'd like to handle both of those together. Then when we come out, we'll come out separately talking about compensation for item number 4. And then we'll see what the direction is for item number 5.
Yep, with the way the agenda looks, we can do that.
Okay.
Both of those executive sessions are 1Bs.
Okay. Then I would entertain a motion, and then we'll have to call Chris and Bill on separate phones. So it looks like we have enough phones in the room where we can get them on the line. So, Chris, Bill, are you
So I'm
okay with that?
Yeah, I'm on my county phone. Do you need the number for that?
I don't know if you want to give it out in an open meeting, but
I got it.
I'm sure.
I have it.
Okay, Jody has it, so we're good. All right,
Okay,
so,
that's great. Okay, thank you.
okay, but I do need a motion to go into executive session.
Which one is it?
1B.
1B, 74206-1B.
Okay, so I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 2061B, as in boy. I
So-
second the motion.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and I would ask that a representative from the auditor's team stay, and I guess it's going to be Jim and Jody and Darren. I would move that we exit executive session with no decisions being made.
I second the
I'll
motion.
second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, I'd like to go revisit item 4, which I think today we are not ready to make a formal decision on. There's some tweaks in the contract, and we'll go ahead and put it on for the business meeting on Tuesday. And there's a little bit more information that we would like Jody to give. I do want to state, though, that for business purposes, it's perfectly reasonable to have the employee, or I'm sorry, the former employee, the current contractor, to have a laptop and an email account due to business items. There are some signatory things that we will double check and verify, but at this point, the director is the signatory for FTA. So we'll investigate that just to make sure that we're keeping the contractor agreement completely appropriate. I guess I'll say that. So, and we did acknowledge that because this is a little bit unusual, we may need to make some changes down the road if something else comes up that we did not foresee. So if that makes sense. So staff is going to get us both the independent contractor agreement and the scope of work to be approved at Tuesday's business meeting, along with compensation. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions on item number 4?
No, I think that summarizes it well.
Okay. All right, Bill, anything further?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily to be approved, but to be voted on.
Yes. Yep. Okay, so with that, I will call for public comment. All right, hearing none, 11:51. Thank you all, folks.